In this video, we're going to be talking about absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from 0 on the number line. And distance cannot be negative. So what does that look like? Well, if I had a number line like this, and I was thinking about what is the absolute value of the number 3, I would have to count from 3 to 0, and I would have 1, 2, 3. It is 3 places away from 0, which means that the absolute value of 3 is 3 because it's 3 places from 0. Now, if I was looking at, let's say, the number -2, and I wanted to know what is the absolute value of -2, I would have to count how many spaces I am from 0. That's 1, 2. So that is 2 spaces away from 0, which means the absolute value of -2 is 2. So let's do some examples. So if I have the absolute value of 5, that would be 5 spaces away from 0 on the number line. So my answer would be 5. Well, look at our next example. If we have the absolute value of -29, how many spots from 0 do you think that would be? It should be 29 spots from 0. And since it can't be negative, we get a positive 29. For our next example, we have the absolute value of 5 minus 9. So if we have 5 positive numbers and we take away 9, we're going to end up having the absolute value of -4. And that should be 4 spots from 0 on the number line. So let's look at our next example. Here we have the absolute value of -3 minus a -2. And we know that when we have two negatives, they undo each other. They make a positive. A double negative is a positive. So now we have -3 plus 2. And that's going to leave us with the absolute value of -1. So how many spots from 0 is -1 on a number line? That's right, it's 1 spot away from 0. So the absolute value of -1 is 1. Let's go to our next example. Here we have 4 plus -2. So that means we're going to have the absolute value of +2. Now the distance from 2 to 0 on the number line is 2, and that's a positive number, so that works. And so we have our answers. You can even compare absolute value numbers with non-absolute value numbers. For example, using your greater than and less than symbols. So as a quick reminder, remember that this symbol right there is our greater than symbol, and that this symbol here is our less than symbol. The way I remember that is if I were to turn my less than symbol on its side, it would look like an L for less than. So if we look at this first problem, we have the absolute value of 4, which we know is 4, and we want to compare that with -2. So what's bigger, 4 or -2? Well, that's right. 4 is bigger, which means that we're going to put a greater than symbol there. Let's move on to our next one. Here, we're comparing -6 and the absolute value of -5. And the absolute value of -5 is 5 because it is 5 spaces away from 0 on the number line. So we want to know which number is bigger. That's right, 5 is bigger because -6 is smaller. So we want the symbol that's going to have the opening, the widest space, pointing at our bigger number, or the 5. So we're going to use our less than sign here to say that -6 is less than 5. And let's look at our final example. Here we're comparing -7 and the absolute value of -9. Now the absolute value of -9 is 9 because it is 9 spots from 0 on the number line. Which number is bigger? Well, 9 is bigger than a negative 7 because I'd rather have $9 than owe someone $7. So what would I say? Negative 7 is greater than 9 or negative 7 is less than 9? And I would choose a less than. And we're done.